All right, so let me clear the whole format and see how I can. Let me delete it. All right, so let me just go straight to the slide just to register some background. Now, we have done this. We have also done this. This is what we just did now. But the only thing that changes here is here we selected only the first cell. Now, I just want to go to another scenario. We have done this as well. Okay, so let's do something like this. This time around, let's work with a number. Let's assume that in that salary payroll, we want to highlight certain value greater than, or certain employee, any salary greater than certain amounts. So let's say we want to do something like that. Now, the formatting we did is horizontal conditional formatting. If we want to apply it for vertical conditional formatting, what we are going to do, the same thing we did, but we are going to select only the column. Let's assume that I just want the selection to affect the values in this column, basic salary only. So I don't have to select the entire data. It is when you are applying it for the entire row that you select the entire data. So like the slide I just showed us now, let's assume that we want to format only salary or only value above 120, greater than 120. They are the only value we want to uniquely identify. So this is how I'm going to select. You are not selecting the entire data set. So this is now vertical formatting. So I'll go to the same conditional formatting, then choose new row. So from new row, then I'll select the last option. Of course, this is part of what we have done. Now, I'll pick the first value, or you pick all, whichever one that work for you. This is what we corrected this morning. Instead of just picking the first value, we are selecting all to enable a cell get it accurately for us. Then you remove the dollar sign. I've explained the reason why I'm removing the dollar sign. Then equals to, but we are not using equals to this time around because we are using a logical operator, which is greater than, like we saw in my slide there. So you look at where you can access that symbol on your computer keyboard, but you will get it by holding down the shift button, and somewhere around where you have the longest button, you find the greater than sign, you press it. They specify the value. So like I said, I'm working with 120,000. So all the values in this selected column that are greater than this, I want to format them with font color, let's say a white, the background color, let's say black. And then after that, I click OK and then apply. So you can see that in this column, only the values that are greater than the 120 are the one highlighted with the black background. So this is a vertical conditional formatting. Okay, so just take note of the differences. In the case of vertical formatting, you highlight only the column. You are not selecting the entire data. But in the case of horizontal formatting, that is a row. you want the entire row, just like we did now, you have to select the entire data. And please, when you are selecting the entire data, body, it should be the body only. Don't include the header. Don't include the header. Just start from the first record. All right. Now, that is for that. Now, we go to the next slide. The next slide is where we want to learn how to format based on a specified date. Now, this one is also very important, particularly when you are handling sales inventory. Your boss can tell you that, okay, we want to uniquely identify record of a certain date for a purpose. So there is a special command when you are formatting with date. For example, we have hire date here. If I want to highlight only the employees hired, let's say on the 5th of June, 2021, let's say I still have more of them here instead of just one. So how do I identify them? How do I differentiate them from other dates? So that is why we also need to know how to format with date. Now, to format with date, all you need to do is to take note of the date format. So here I'm just highlighting the steps that are involved. You highlight the entire data set. Remember I said excluding the fields. That's what the heading should be part of your selection. Go to Home tab and select conditional formatting, then select new rule and use a formula. So all you need to pay attention to is this structure, this format or syntax. Now, if you look at the syntax here, the whole of this section is representing the range where I have the dates. Like the one I just showed us now, the higher date column. That is what I'm representing with the whole of this. Now, equals to date is a function. In fact, once you enter any word and it carries this parenthesis bracket, is a function. You don't need to be informed. You should know that it's a function once it carries this bracket. So being a function, you have to supply some parameter, and the parameter you have to supply is the date format. The standard or the global date format is YY, MM, and DD. That is what? Year, month, and day. So if you apply this function, one, you start by checking your data. Is the entering date, does not align with the format. You can see it here. We have day, we have year. Let's say this is month, this is M, this is Y, and this is D. So you can see that it does not align. So the first thing we are going to do before we apply this command is to change this format to align with this. So let's give Glory some time to see if he should rejoin soon. Okay, so I'll still explaining how to work with the date function in order to format your record. Now, so let's go for the application. So I'll say something that the way your record is now, look at your date entry here. It's not suit for the application of that function because the function says that the format of your date must be like this. So if the person that enters the record did not follow that format, then you need to restructure the date format before you can go ahead with the functions application. So let me quickly take us through how to change it to align with that global format. Just want to remove this so that you have to focus on what wants to apply. Now, to change this date format, highlight the whole date column. Now, you go to your system windows setting to change to reconfigure the date and time. So let's quickly look at that. So I'll click on the Start button. From the Start button, I'll search for Control Panel. Control Panel. Search for this. Now, why I'm doing this? Because I understand that it is not the Office, the Excel that controls that date format. It is your window. So that's why I'm going to the roots to change my date and time architecture. So you come to clock and region, or you can just click on change date time. So let's follow one of the link. So from here, what I want to change is the date format. So let me click here. Let me see if I'm able to get it here. So click on the region. So from the region, instead of clicking on date and time, click on the region option. So from here, you click on additional setting. So from additional setting, you go to dates. So once you click on date, you can see the reason why we are getting that format, MDY. That is the format we are having with our data set here. So what I'll simply do is to change the format. Is to click here and choose the one that align with the format, which is this, YYMMDD. So I'll pick this. That is for the date format, short date. Now, I will try to apply it first. If it doesn't work, then before I'll come to long date. But let's apply it like this first. Click on apply and OK. Apply and OK. So by the time we come back here, we check if the format was applied the way we want it. No, it's not yet in that. OK. Let me format it as date because it's formatted as custom before we can conclude. So let's come here and select short date. Okay, so the moment you change it here, then you have the one you program. So it's now properly formatted. Is it clear? Did you understand the step?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jolly, are you okay with the steps?
Yeah.
All right, so now we have our dates in a proper format. Now we can go ahead to apply the function. So let's look at the function again. You specify the range, that is the column, where you have your date entry. Then equals to, you bring in this function and then you follow the order. So let's look at one of the value here. So I'm applying it for the entire row, not just the column. Remember, I'm not selecting the field names. So highlight everything. Then go to conditional formatting, select new row, and then Of course, we are still
The
on.
audio is breaking. No, I can't say anything, sir.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Hope it's not from your end.
I
Can you
can't
hear
hear
me?
you.
Mr. Jolly, can you hear me? Mr. Jolly, can you hear me?
It was no, I was also not hearing. It was breaking.
But you are hearing now.
I can't.
Can you hear me now? Is it better now? Please, somebody should confirm. Miss Glory, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm still on the first, I think. Check. All right, so we are still on the last option, which says use a formula to determine which cell to format. Now here, this is where you are going to enter that formula. So you start with equals to, and then you select the range where you have your entry, which is this. So remember that selecting just one argument was not giving us the expected output. But I still want to try because it has been working over the year. But let me check if it will work with this function. So we remove the dollar sign from the number, the same principle, because we want the function to search across all the rows, but it should only search in this column H2. Now equals to, then you bring in the dates function like we have it there. You open your bracket. Now you define the year. You look at your data set. Let's assume that I'm searching for this particular year, 2019 807. All the records, all the employee employed in that particular date, they are the one I want to format differently. So I'll follow it 2019. If your record is 2018, whatever year you have there is what you follow. So it must not be one particular year. The comma, then followed by the month, which is 08, the comma again, it's not comma, then followed by the day, which is 08. Then after that, you close the bracket and then you proceed to your formatting. So click here. I'll choose my formats. How do I want to identify them or differentiate them from other dates? Let me still choose this. Then I click. So let's debug and find out whether I will need to select the entire column value. So come here, select edit rule and see what you did not do right. Okay, we are correct here. So let me just update this section. Then you also remove the dollar sign from all the numbers. And click on apply, and click OK. So let's see if that was. Or we enter the correct date. Is any of you journey with system? Glory, you are joining with your laptop, right?
Yes, sir.
So let me allow you to just take note of the formula. I want you to try it there too. Just snap the formula and follow the syntax. I want to use another data as well to confirm it. Have you taken the picture so I can leave the slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So try it there, Mr. Jolly. If you are with your laptop, try it also. Let's see. I think that's work here now. So what I did is to do it again. Now, I want to check whether the command is actually, because as it starts now, I don't think, okay, I have another date that align with that. You can see it's also highlighted. So I was thinking we don't have other ones. Now, let's assume that I edit one of these dates to align with this and see whether it will automatically detect it and format it. So let me change here to 1, and let me also change here to 1. So if I click, you can see that automatically it will select it. So that is how it works. So, but are you saying that I should share this sheet with you? Because I want you to do it and confirm it. When you say we should proceed, you are going to watch the video, fine.
Yeah, I'll watch your video.
Okay, so that take us to another scenario. So here we are using multiple formatting formula because all the one we have been doing is just one condition. Now where I'm actually targeting is it's not this. We have done something like this. We have done something like this. It's one that we have not touched. See? Okay, so this is actually this is going to be the last topic under this conditional formatting. Now, if you check very well, what we have been doing since we have been formatting with just one condition, like the one we just did now, based on one date. Now, supposing you have this kind of data set, let me delete this format so that it will not confuse us. You are given a data set like this, and you are asked to highlight certain value based on two conditions. One, here we are asked to highlight employees receiving 100,000 that are from Delta State only. They are the ones we want to uniquely identify. So you can see that it's different from what we did initially. What we did initially is that all the 100,000, irrespective of the state they are from, will be highlighted. But now it will highlight only employee any 100,000 that falls in Delta State. So to do that, you need to involve AND function. So once your formatting condition exceed 1, then you no longer work with just the syntax. You have to involve a function called what? AND. So here, what I'm interpreting here, AND is a function. Then this is your first range. $B14 is your first range. Now this first range might be the salary. Then this is your second range. This is the criteria for the first range. This is the second range, which will be the range for states. And then the criteria for the second range. So if I want to apply up to 3, 4, 5, 6, all I have to be doing is just put a comma, specify the range, then specify the criteria. comma, specify the range, specify the criteria. So that is what you keep doing. There is no limit to the numbers of criteria you can actually format with the AND. So let's look at it now. The question we are answering, like I've highlighted, is that in this payroll, we want to uniquely identify employee any 100,000 that are from Delta State. So I can also say from Delta State that are only male. That is 3 criteria now for formatting. So to achieve that, you highlight the entire record, almost the same thing we have been doing. After that, you proceed to your conditional formatting. You select new rule. So from new rule as well, we select the last option. So from the last option, we configure our formula. So you start with equals to and then and as a function. You open it. Then after that, I will define my first range, depend on the order at which I want to implement the criteria. I can start with the states and end with the basic salary, or I start with the basic salary and end with the state. So I want to pick one range first. If it doesn't work, then I'll go by selecting all. Now, my first range is, I'm picking this range. And I am also removing the dollar sign because I want it to search across all the rows. But it shouldn't search for 100,000 outside this column. Now, equals to, I'll quote the value, equals to the value. Now, the value I have here is not a text. The value I have here is a number. So we are saying what? Values that are in basic salary equals to what? 100. Now, I told us before, you can just type 100,000 like this. Believe I am correct. Good. Then comma. Now, you call the second range. The second range is the states. So I pick the first one and I also remove the dollar sign. And then equals to, the state is a string, it's not a number. And if you are storing string in variable, you have to what? Accompany them with the quotation or with the quote icon. So I'll have to quote this because it's not a number. And I'm specifying data. So I have defined the 2 criteria. Remember, this is the range for this particular criteria. This is the range for this criteria. So once I am done with this, I can now proceed to my formatting. But before that, I have to close this bracket. The function bracket, you have to close it before you proceed to your formatting. So let me choose another format. I think the black text color will still come out on this yellow field. So I'll just go with this and then I click. So like I said, where it does not highlight like this with this option, you simply go back and highlight the whole argument. Edit. So from here, this is the only place I'm going to be updating now. So here I'll take all the information here from the beginning to the end and then remove the dollar sign. Then I will also adjust here. Take all the information in the states, highlight everything, then remove also the dollar sign. And then let me click apply. and OK. Now, this was what happened when we applied the date. If it doesn't work like this, it's not as if your formula is wrong. So all you need to do is just to delete it and enter it again. That will correct it. So you go back here. That was what I did in the case of that date. Delete it, apply it, then take it again. So go through the entire process again, equals to, and let me start with this. Equals to, let's see, do, comma, and second range is this range. I expected it to work since I'm taking it again. Is equals to 100,000. I close the brackets. So you can see. So whenever you are having that kind of issue, just retake it again. Now, this 100,000 is traced to Edo. This is also 100,000, but when you trace it, it's traced to Anambra, so it did not select it. So let's try what we did the other time. Let's assume that I change here to Edo. I want to see how sensitive it is. Change here to Edo. I want to know whether it will actually take it. Okay, so it's highlighted. Okay, the Edo I was changing was not 100,000. That's why it was not changing. So let me look for where I have 100,000. Like here. Where else again do I have 100,000? So you need to confirm. Okay, this is 100,000, but it's from River. 100,000 from Taraba, but let me change it to Edo and see if it will capture it. Good, which means that it is working. So that is the last function under conditional formatting. Now, I was saying something yesterday that the main reason why I am probably formatting all this is because for me to easily isolate them or easily perform my counting analysis. Supposing after this you are asked how many of them, will you be counting them like this? 1, 2, 3? No. Since you have uniquely identified them, all you need to do is to activate your filter. Activate your filter command and filter by this yellow color. That will automatically fetch out only rows highlighted with this, and that will enable you to easily what? Count them. So what I'm going to do is to go to Data tab and then activate this function called filter. So you can see that your filter icon has been what? Attached to each of the column. So from here, because the yellow background color cut across all the rows, I can apply my filter here. I can apply it here. So I can choose any of these and then come to filter by color. Filter by color, and then you choose this color. So right now we have just record that meets that particular criteria, and there are just 3. So even there are more than this and you want to count, all you need to do is to highlight them like this. Once you highlight, you get the information here. Count, there are 3. So you just go to your PowerPoint where you are writing your executive report and note down your observation. So you can return everything and program another one for aggregates or for comparison analysis. I can clear here and bring back everything. So let's assume that I want to also format with another criteria based on the question I'm answering or the task I'm given. Supposing the company also wants to know how many employees are earning 120,000 that are from another state. There are decisions they actually want to make based on this analysis you are performing. So if I'm asked to do that, while this one is here, so that you don't think there is only one format you can have at a time. So you highlight again, you go through your home, select the conditional formatting, then choose your new rule, and then click here. Then since it's going to be multiple criteria, I bring in and. But if it is one criteria, don't forget, it does not require what? The and. Now, the first criteria, like they said, is state. So I'll select state. I'll select states. So let me select everything to avoid generating nothing. So remove the dollar sign also from all the numbers. Remove the dollar sign. Then equals to, here we are applying, let's say, which value? Okay, let's just assume Lagos. Let's assume Lagos. That is the first criteria. Then the second range is salary. Salary equals to 120. So I'll click here. Remember, let me also take everything to avoid error. Then this one is equals to 120. You are not quoting that because it's a number. Then you close your bracket. Then you go for your formatting. So now when you have multiple formatting on the same data set, please, you are advised to use different appearance. I've used yellow background so that I can easily differentiate this set from the previous one. I'll choose another color. So let me choose maybe this, then apply. So this is the issue we are having. So what I'm going to do to go back, it's not all time you have this issue, depends on your worksheet sensitivity. But when you are having this issue, the best way to resolve them is to clear it and take it again. Apply. Go back. Equals to, and first range is this. Let me try the single one. Equals to Abia. Equals to Abia, comma. The second range is this. And that is equals to 120,000. Then close the bracket. So let me just choose this background. Let me choose this. So you can see it worked now. Only from Abia, that is highlighted, any 120. So let's check if we can have. You can just change another 120, just like I confirmed the other time, to Avia, just to see if this is 120. So let me change here to Avia. So once it works, it means it's perfect. All right, any question? So we are through with the, now like I did the other time, I can bring in my filter again and find out how many of them. Go to data and then bring it out. Then use any of the field. Go to by color. So you see, if you have up to 5 of them, you see all of them listed here. So you can always filter by any color. Then you can clear filter to return everything. Any question?
Okay, my question is, so, because I just observed as you were inputting the Z criteria for the formula. So if it's two different, what's the word now? Okay, if we've done salary or want to go to
Fit.
want to form based on dates. Okay, you have to start after the comma, you have to start equals to again. I was thinking it's just one equals to from the beginning.
No.
This last one you did.
No,
Okay.
I understand what you're. Let me go back. This is not just one equals to. Okay, let's assume that. Let me go to the manage rules so that let me return one of them like this, right? Let me try as if I
Yeah.
want to edit. So what we are saying now is that we started with equals to, right?
Yes.
So you are saying that it should be only this equal to, all this equals to. You don't know how they keep.
Uh
That's what you are saying.
yeah. Yes, sir.
Now, good. Now, this equals to is just a standard rule in a cell that you are writing a formula. Is it clear to you? This first one.
Yes. Okay.
So it has much to do with all this one. This one is just to follow the rule that, okay, the type of data I am typing is a formula. Now, this equals to is not actually called equals to in programming. I'm using equals to here because this is an application. When we get to Python, I'll be using assignment operator so that you don't see it as equals to. This is just like a variable, and this sign is called assignment operator, which is used to give a value to a container. So just like the pipe that is dropping the content inside the container. So that's what you are doing here. So you are saying that this container should store what? This. This container should store this. Now, what is using to store the value is what you are seeing there as equal sign,
Okay.
which is for introducing the criteria.
Okay.
Exactly.
So without it, okay, so without adding it to any new criteria, the formula will not be correct.
No, it depends on the task. If, for example, they say that they want only value that are here that are greater than 120, what do you think this equals to will change to?
Greater than
Good. If they say the value that is here is less than 120, what would this equals to change to?
to be less than.
Good. So it must not always be equals to. So that equals to we are using here just to specify the exact value. But when you want to create room for range, then you put greater than or less than. Is it clear now?
It's clear now, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. So please, another question. You know that we have a lot of videos that we have to
Yes.
go to. So this conditional formatting, is it the continuation from where we started if, some if, what if? Are they all together?
Yeah, they are all
Formula.
under conditional formulas in a cell.
Okay.
Formula that requires certain criteria definition.
Okay.
You understand
So
this?
we have done if, what if, some if. Um,
Yes.
but we have to go back. We have a lot of videos we have to that we have not gone back
Yes.
to.
You have to. Let me see. I think I'm already uploading the one of yesterday to see if I can drop the link now. Like it's still uploading. 95%.
So in what scenario would one use conditional formatting?
The scenario is
When you see a raw file now, okay, so where would you just start applying conditional?
you identify the task. What do you want to do? What did they say you should achieve?
Okay.
Now, the moment they give you a data set like this and you start hearing, we want to differentiate record from a particular state from other states. You could be entering all of them in one sheet. You understand? So you
Mm.
can segment them. You can say all the record from Delta states, you have a particular appearance. All the record in Imo states, you have different appearance. If they are just 3 category data, then, well, in this case where you have almost 36 states, so you just work based on priority. Maybe there are about 3 states, like your company now. I'm very sure that it's not all the states that they actually focus on when it comes to sales, right?
Exactly.
They focus more in Lagos, Port Harcourt, where they have more sales. So what you will do in your office, that kind of scenarios, those states that they are focusing on, you try and use conditional formatting to differentiate them. So while you are entering, that time that we selected, the entire data. Let me show you something. That time we selected the entire data. If you want it to capture what will be entered tomorrow, you will capture both the empty cell. Are you with me? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, the other time we selected there, we stopped here. Let me tell you the implication when you stop exactly where the record stopped. It means that they have come to the end of that data collection. If it's like record given to you, December, last working day in December, the following year is a new year. Probably you start fresh entry. Then you can stop here. But if this record is given to you January this year, when you are programming this kind of function, you shouldn't stop here because you have to leave room for more entries so that by tomorrow, if they enter any value here, once they specify ABIA, automatically to do what? It's Gloria, are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Now,
So that's
if they specify ABIA now, look at this. These are the formats. These are the
mm,
formatting for what? ABIA, right?
yes.
Good. Now, if by tomorrow now you have another customer and the person is from ABIA, once you get to state column and type ABIA, what do you think will happen?
To format to that color.
But do you know that what we did now, it will not format because our selection stop here at the time of ABIA.
Mm,
So what I'm saying is that in your office, if it is still an ongoing project or ongoing
mm,
data collection, you shouldn't stop at where the current record stop. Create room. In fact, highlight everything in that sheet so that by tomorrow, if there are new information, those format we have created will automatically what? Transform them. Exactly.
yes, sir.
Good. So as we are learning all these functions, we started from general functions, sum, counts. You as a person, you need to be able. There are 2 things involved. One thing is for you to have this knowledge, for you to know the functions. Another thing is for you to know the scenario to apply them. I think that was what brought to your question. How do I know when to apply it?
Mm,
Is even the most critical aspect of IT generally. There are some people that have a lot of skills, but when they find themselves in some situation where some of those skills can be applied, they don't even know that that skill or
mm,
skills are what they need to solve the problem. So it is you, that is the creativity aspect which every individual need to develop. And that is why sometimes when I'm teaching you guys, I'm trying to cite live situations like what I just explained now. Like your company says might cut across the entire state in Nigeria, but there are some specific states that
mm,
their eyes are on. So in that case now, you make sure that those, because question will always come from what? Those states. They will always want to find out what is happening in those states. So what you do as a data analyst, you predefine things like this. They must not even ask you to even format or your own, knowing that they will always ask you, I want to see record from Lagos State. I want to see record from Port Harcourt. You already know that your boss always asks you all these routine questions. So all you need to do is to, on your own, program this down. So as soon as he asks you, instead of you manually counting, you will just what? Put them out. So that is how it works. So like that if now, like that if statement, the one we did, that was one we used in rewarding the staff, right? The one we use in allocating items to them. Now it depends on your office. In your office now, it might not be rewarding. It might be that you want to find a way of noticing a particular transaction. So you can program that anytime is this transaction, I want to see A. Anytime is that transaction, I want to see B. So you are the one that knows that. You are the one that know what those A and B represent. I don't know if you are with me.
Yes.
Good. Now, once you see A, you know that there's a particular, how do I put it? There's a particular information attached to that A. So once you see that A will inform you. So it's on your own. Now, if you are giving the data to someone else, what you will do is that beside the data set, you explain, because you are no longer the one that will be handling it. So you are creating it and it's going to be passed to someone else. So how will the person know what the A represents? You will now on your own say A equals to, you specify what it represents. Just like you are saying that what A represents what? Good. Then B represents what? Maybe bad. So once the person you are giving this data to sees this, you know that, oh, now understand why he programmed R, A, and B to all the record. But if it is you, you know that A represents what? Good. Then B represents what? Bad. So you have to factor it out. So I want to encourage every one of us to actually go through the video. Because what I notice here is that